Namaskar, myself Amitabh Bhattacharjee from Department of Microbiology, Assam University, Silchar. Today my topic of presentation is antibiotic versus antimicrobial resistance. I am thankful to Northeast Science Movement and Bigyan Bharati for providing me this opportunity. Now coming to the topic. The story started in a very fine morning when Alexander Fleming entered his lab and observed in his petri dish that some unwanted microorganism grown. And he observed that the unwanted microorganism, it killed the desired microorganisms. And later he found that the organism is penicillium, and the substance secreted by this organism was penicillin, which killed other bacteria. Thus, penicillin is the first known antibiotic. What is antibiotic? Antibiotic, that means against life. Initially, the definition of antibiotic was a substance that is from a living organism which kills another microorganism. But later, this definition is being changed because many synthetic antibiotics came in the market. So at present, the definition of antibiotic is a type of substance that prevent growth of bacteria. Example of these antibiotics are penicillin, amoxicillin, gentamicin, azithromycin, etc. Now, what should be there in an antibiotic? What should be the properties of an antibiotic? The main criteria to be an antibiotic is selective toxicity. That means this antibiotic is going to kill microorganism, that is, this substance is toxic to microorganism, not to the human being. So selectively it is going to kill microorganism. Then cidal activity. There are two types of antibiotics. One is bactericidal, that kills bacteria. Second one is bacteriostatic, that means that inhibits the growth of bacteria. But a desired antibiotic should be a bactericidal one. Then its spectrum of activity. That means this antibiotic should have a higher spectrum, a broad spectrum, or an extended spectrum. It can kill wide range of microorganisms. Then the last property is slow emergence of resistance, so that bacteria may not be able to confer a resistance mechanism against this antibiotic. So these are the properties of an antibiotic. Now, this antibiotic chemotherapy, how and when these antibiotics should be prescribed. So there are two types of therapy we have. One is empirical therapy, another one is definitive therapy. Now, for empirical therapy, suppose I got an infection, maybe a wound infection. I went to a clinician. He found this infection. He diagnosed the infection and he has prescribed a group of antibiotic, maybe a single antibiotic or a combination of antibiotics, without knowing the type of causative agent of this infection, or without knowing what type of bacteria it is, what is the resistance pattern of this bacteria. So without knowing, he will initiate a therapy, and that is called empirical therapy. Now next one is definitive therapy. That means the clinician will ask for a culture and sensitivity, that is a microbiological investigation, and a microbiologist will collect clinical specimen. He will perform culture of that bacteria and antibiotic susceptibility, and then he will find out, he will come with a result which says that particular organism is resistant to this number of antibiotics and susceptible to this group of antibiotic. So based on this susceptibility pattern, the clinician is going to prescribe the proper antibiotic. So that is known as definitive therapy. Sometimes it can be a monotherapy, or that means a single antibiotic will be given, or a combination therapy, two different group of antibiotics will be given. Now coming to the next thing, that is antibiotic resistance. What is this antibiotic resistance? Bacteria, they evolve themselves and they modify themselves to resist against the action of this particular, of any type of antibiotics, and then they can survive even in the presence of an antibiotic, and that is known as antibiotic resistance. And this antibiotic resistance, it leads into treatment failure if not detected early. Now, how this antibiotic resistance occurs? What are the driving forces behind this antibiotic resistance? First of all, inappropriate use of antibiotic. So I would like to say the first point, that is over-the-counter selling of antibiotics. That means the medical shops, they sell antibiotic without any proper prescription. If I go or if I visit a medical shop and I ask for an antibiotic, even without prescription, they sell the antibiotic, and this leads into antibiotic resistance. Next thing is, we common people, we have a opinion that these antibiotics have more side effect. I came to know from many of my relatives, my neighbors, that no, we should not take antibiotics because it is having side effect. So what happens, what is generally practiced by these people? If a clinician prescribes antibiotic, they don't complete the actual course of antibiotics. Suppose the doctor has given the antibiotic twice daily for 5 days. Now, what happens? This common people, they usually think, not everyone, I found a group of people, they think that this antibiotic, it is having side effect, so I should take minimum doses. What they are going to do? They will take, suppose, for 2 or 3 days, and once they find that their symptoms are subsided, no more symptoms are there, they stop taking those antibiotics. But this kind of condition, it leads into resistance, because the bacteria, it is being exposed to a suboptimum doses of antibiotic, and once they get this suboptimum dose, some of the organisms, they will die, but some of them, a group of organisms, they will become mutant and they adapt themselves against this sub-inhibitory concentration of antibiotic which is being administered by the patient. Now, next time when this patient takes same type of antibiotic, it doesn't work because the organism already they develop resistance. Now the next point is inadequate diagnostics. In most of the cases we find there are many of the labs, they don't perform the routine diagnostic laboratories, they don't perform a proper panel of antibiotics for doing this culture and sensitivity. Or sometimes the patient without undergoing those microbiological investigations, they start taking antibiotic through this over-the-counter purchase. So this leads into antibiotic development of antibiotic resistance. Next is hospital use. What happens in hospital use? Prolonged hospitalization means prolonged exposure to antibiotics, and this leads into a condition when the patient he may acquire some multi-drug resistant infection where the prescribed antibiotics may not work. Next is agricultural use. There are many antibiotics which are being used as growth promoters for plants, and they are being irrationally used. Also, the industrial wastes. So these antibiotic residues in environment, they may also help bacteria, maybe environmental bacteria, to become resistant. So these are the driving forces which leads into antimicrobial resistance. Next, how this bacteria they develop antibiotic resistance. Now this resistance mechanism, it can be an intrinsic one or it can be an acquired one. Now in intrinsic, what happens? Bacteria, they possess some pores which are known as porine, and these porines, they facilitate entry of substances required for bacterial survival. Now antibiotics, they enter through these pores. Now there are some specific porins for specific antibiotic in bacteria. Now what happens? Bacteria, they modify those pores or porins so that antibiotic may not come inside the bacteria. Thus, it become resistant. So sometimes there is modification of porins, or sometimes porine is totally lost, which is specific for those antibiotics. Next, these bacteria, what they can do, they can undergo some mutation. So once they undergo mutation, that means some changes in their gene or in their genetic makeup. Now this genetic makeup, changes in genetic makeup leads into a condition when the antibiotic may not be able to bind with its target. So this is called target modification. Next one is called efflux pump system. Now there are some, this is a pump, tripartite pump, which is present in bacteria, and this pump, the function of these pumps are to flush out the metabolic waste product of bacteria. Now bacteria, they use this pump to flush out or to pump out the antibiotics that enters inside the bacterial cell. When we consume antibiotic, those antibiotic enters inside the bacterial cell and they are being pumped out by those efflux pump system. So these are intrinsic resistance mechanisms. Other than this, bacteria, they can acquire antibiotic resistance. That means they acquire from another bacteria through some genetic material. These are called plasmids. So those genetic materials, those plasmids, they carry some antibiotic resistance genes, and they bring those antibiotic resistance genes along with themselves, and now the recipient bacteria, it becomes a resistant one. In early 90s, there were one concept that is called antibiotic cycling. That means which was widely you practiced in hospitals. That means for first 6 months or 1 year, they are going to use one type of antibiotic. Then they will change this particular type of antibiotic, and they are going to use a new one. So in this condition, what happens means in such a condition, they are going to change those antibiotics after a particular duration, thinking that these conditions, this changing will not allow bacteria to develop resistance. But this, what is shown in this picture, this is called a system. This is a mobile cassette. So these bacteria, they acquire this cassette or a series of, you can find different in different colors. So these are nothing but resistance genes. They carry this resistance gene within themselves, and they rearrange these genes when a particular antibiotic is being used. Suppose the pink color one is the antibiotic which was used earlier. So bacteria develop resistance against this antibiotic. Now what is happened? Next one, in the next condition, they have prescribed a different antibiotic for which bacteria has obtained a gene that is given in sky color. So what they are going to do, they will rearrange these genes so that this particular gene is being rearranged in its position where it can express itself, and it will produce the enzyme in sufficient quantity that can destroy that particular antibiotic. So bacteria, they carry this series or these gene cassettes which contains multiple antibiotic resistance gene. Therefore, what happened? That bacteria become multi-drug resistant or pan-drug resistant. That means that is resistant to all the available antibiotics. Now, what is going to happen? What are the consequences of this antibiotic resistance? In 2013, Center for Disease Control, CDC, they asserted that human race is now in post-antibiotic era. That means we are counting our days when there will not be any more antibiotic left to treat if we get an infection by a multi-drug or a pan-drug resistant bacteria. Then in 2014, World Health Organization, they have declared that this antimicrobial resistance is one of the top 10 global public threats facing humanity. And this is mainly due to misuse and overuse of antimicrobials by human being. So this has to be stopped. So this is a matter which we should think. And also we must know that no antimicrobials are in pipeline. That means no newer antimicrobials are coming. We didn't see any new antimicrobial or any new group of antimicrobial in last 10 years. So this is where we are moving towards. Now I would like to come to the future course of action. What should we do? So first one is trace source of origin and acquisition. So this is the role of scientists who are working in this field to find out the source. What is the source of this? So to locate the deserver of this antimicrobial resistance, from where this antimicrobial resistance genes are flowing, from human to environment or environment to human, hospital to environment, environment to agriculture or agriculture to environment. So we should find out, scientists should find out this first one. We have to trace the source of origin and acquisition. Next is new drug discovery. That means newer drug, new group of antimicrobials, which is susceptible, where most of the majority of the organisms are susceptible. So there is a need of newer drugs, newer antimicrobials. So this is the role of microbiologists, industrialists, and scientists. So we have to find out the new type of antibiotic we should find. We should identify a new target, new bacterial target, and we should develop the new drug. So industry, this is the role of industry. Next is newer diagnostics. There should be, we should start or we should initiate a rapid and simple and reliable diagnostic method. So again, role of industry, they should take up the lead to prepare such kind of diagnostics. Next, revise routine diagnostics. So till we get our newer diagnostic methods or newer diagnostic systems, we have to work with our existing diagnostic systems. So this is the role of microbiologists, where what we can do, we should follow the proper diagnosis of resistant bacteria. We should report it properly. So for each and every type of bacterial infection, we should go for a proper diagnostic. Now, next one is antibiotic policy. A country like India cannot have the same antimicrobial policy for all its corners. So there should be local antibiotic policy. That means based on the local epidemiology and local susceptibility pattern, antibiotic policy should be formulated. That means the antibiotic which is being prescribed here may not be effective in, that means the antibiotic which is prescribed in Assam may not be effective in Chennai or in other southern part of India. So we should know the local susceptibility pattern, that in this region, most of the bacteria, they are susceptible to this particular group of antibiotic A, and in other part, it may be antibiotic B. So based on this particular finding or this data, we should formulate a local antibiotic policy. And so this is the role of policy makers. Next is One Health approach. This is a new terminology, One Health, where we address this antimicrobial resistance problem taking into consideration of human being, animal, plants, and their shared environment. So overall, we use the same approach. So that is called One Health approach. And finally, this is the responsibility of us. That is to stop over-the-counter purchase of antibiotics. We should make sure that we don't purchase any antibiotic without prescription. So if we follow these things, we will be able to reduce this global burden of antimicrobial resistance. At least we will have a condition where we can treat our patients who is having a bacterial infection. So that's all. Thank you so much. Thanks a lot for your patience.